Spears are one- and two-handed melee weapons from the hunter weapon tree. One-handed versions are most commonly equipped with offhands like torches and shields. The spear has a long range for a melee weapon, and spears are most commonly used to gank other players. When you see the abilities, it's pretty obvious why. The standard Q attack for the spear weapons are Lunging Strike and Spirit Spear. Lunging Strike stabs enemies in front of you. Any enemy hit by your spear will suffer 256 damage and be slowed by 10% for 11 seconds. Each enemy hit by this ability will apply a Spirit Spear charge on you, which increases your normal attack damage by 35% for 8 seconds. This stacks up to 3 times. This is your AoE damage builder option. With enough targets in front of you, you can gain Spirit Spear charges very quickly, and the faster you get max charges, the more passive damage you'll do. You'll dump these charges with your E ability. The 10% slow isn't bad for PvP either. Spirit Spear increases your normal attack range by 30% and normal attack damage by 35% for 8 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. If you reapply the spell on maximum stacks, you lose an additional 11 energy. This effect stacks up to 3 times to prevent you from spamming the buff. You'll dump these charges with your E skill as well. Spirit Spear doesn't deal damage, but this is the fastest way to buff your damage in a hurry. The cooldown is a fraction of Lunging Strike, and you can achieve 3 charges to dump on powerful E abilities much faster. The standard W skills for the Spear family are Forest of Spears, Inner Focus, and Cripple. Forest of Spears repeatedly attacks enemies in a cone in front of you, dealing 163 damage every 0.3 seconds up to 6 times. The range on this at the time of writing is insane, and definitely a crowd favorite for PvP and PvE. It's a well-rounded skill for any situation. Inner Focus focuses your strength on the battlefield and channels up to 2 seconds. Each 0.2 seconds of the channel, you'll increase your damage by 4%, your crowd control duration by 4%, and your movement speed by 6%, stacking up to 10 times. Your Inner Focus will last for 5 seconds. This is a very versatile ability with a variety of uses. It's a short channel, so chances are you'll be able to grab your buff before it's time to move or you're interrupted by an enemy. This has merit in both PvP and PvE scenarios, with all the stats it buffs. 60% movement speed, 40% damage on a 15-second cooldown? Yes please. Cripple makes a crippling attack. It deals 384 damage and slows your target by 15% for 18 seconds. If your target has a move speed buff active, the buff will be removed and your move speed increases by 50% for 5 seconds. This will only be used in PvP to catch your target. If you're not the one ganking players with this ability, you will be ganked by it, I promise. Either your target will be slow enough to catch, or you'll be fast enough to catch your target. It's that simple. All my red zone gatherers know what I'm talking about. Each individual weapon from the Spear family will have a unique E ability. This will be where you dump the charges you build with your Q skills. The one-handed spear has Reckless Charge. Charge towards an area dealing damage to enemies in a 4-meter radius on impact. The damage depends on the number of Spirit Spear charges on you, or low stab charges on the enemy. A powerful AoE charge dump for PvE. The two-handed pike has Rooting Smash. Rooting Smash deals physical damage and roots the target for 10 seconds. The damage depends on the number of Spirit Spear charges on you. A perfect ability for PvP and ganking. I'm starting to see a pattern here. The two-handed glaive has Fling. Fling an enemy behind you and deal physical damage. The damage scales depending on the number of Spirit Spear charges active and consumes all charges. This is a great skill to break players away from the group in PvP, so you can pick them off one by one. The one-handed Heron Spear has Spear Throw. Throw a spear that shatters an enemy on impact, dealing 434 magic damage and stunning enemies for 5 seconds in a 4-meter radius. A good surprise for PvP enemies bunched too close together. The two-handed Spirit Hunter has Harpoon. Harpoon throws a spear, and on hit, the enemy receives 334 damage and will be pulled to you. Spirit Spear stacks are consumed on hit, and, depending on the number of stacks, the enemy will be rooted after the pull for a set duration. Look, I've only been killed a few times in Albion because I'm careful, but every time I die, it's because of this ability. Some quick stacks of Spirit Spear, and you've got yourself a gatherer who's rooted long enough for you to kill him and steal his stuff. The spear passives are Slow Poison. Every normal attack slows creatures by 40% and players by 10% for 3.5 seconds, because all the stuns and slows spear users already have is never enough. Life Leech. Every normal attack you restore 11 HP. Aggressive Rush. Every 4 normal attacks, your damage gets increased by 7% for 3 seconds. And Attack Speed. Every 6 normal attacks, you gain an attack speed bonus of 40% for 3 seconds. Spear users have excellent passives for any situation. Remember, you can change your skills and abilities at any time. Be prepared for the fights ahead. These numbers were taken from items with 1100 item power, so your numbers may be a little different, depending on your item power and your masteries. Let us know in the comments what spears you and your guildies are using to gank me while I gather. I'd love to hear about it. Oh, stupid fucking spears.